So Michael Waltrip's wild ride puts us under the third caution of the day at lap 44.
Yeah, he might want to get a blinker on that thing next time. It's going to turn down like that.
Tires were flat, as you would expect. Booty Barker, the crew chief. Here's another question from Ask.com. Easy one. You can get the answer now at Ask.com and enter the Ask.com NASCAR Challenge at the official search engine of NASCAR.
So Michael gets 4 fresh tires and he will stay on the lead lap.
Unbelievable.
You know, that's one thing I'll say about this car. Yesterday, you think about that car yesterday. It's one of, like the old Cup cars were in the past. That car there today, that thing didn't try to turn over. It stayed planted on the ground.
Quite a ride for Michael Waltrip. Pit road is open. Dick Bergman.
Well, we expected Scott Speed was going to come in for a pit stop, Mike, and I was down there. The car is okay, but his foot has gotten incredibly hot. Charlie Brock, the car chief, was ready to go into it. Pit stops.
Kyle Busch service is already going to complete a slight chassis adjustment. Just 1 can of fuel. The same for Dale Earnhardt Jr., Krista.
Jimmie Johnson takes fuel only. They had tires up on the wall. They did not take them. He said he responds well to the push. Jimmie Johnson, fuel only.
We're seeing all types of strategies on pit road as we anticipated.
So Scott Speed did not stop, and he becomes one of 13 different leaders of this race. And Aaron's 499. Michael Waltrip,
Hey, Mikey,
a wild ride and a
DW.
great save. Darrell.
Hey, Mikey, it's DW. You got a copy, buddy? Well, we had him.
10-4.
Mikey, it's DW. You got a copy, bud?
Yeah, bro. What's up?
Do you have any idea how close you came to those 2 walls?
Yeah, but I knew it was close, but when it wound up going in the right direction, it felt pretty cool, actually.
I know you didn't close your eyes because we could tell you were driving that thing even when she's in a 4-wheel slide. Great job, man.
Thank you. They stacked up in front of me there. The 2 looked like you really about got out of whack, and I just thought I had room to the inside, and my teammate was in there. Nothing he could do. I drove across his hood. So we'll just line up here in the back and go back up here and get some more.
All right, we'll keep a camera isolated on you from now on.
Green, green, green.
Going green with our Clear It and Clear to Drive restart. Get Clear It and Clear. Get back to feeling like yourself again. Kyle Busch getting back to feeling like leading again. Brad Keselowski, Jimmie Johnson, Casey Mears, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the front 5.
And we have 33 cars on the lead lap. Jeff Burton, who had led this race, you saw him earlier on pit road. After he led, changing the battery, they've been back to pit road the last 2 cautions. With the hood up, he's now 2 laps down in the 31.
Krista?
Yeah, Jeff Burton was just hanging on for dear life. You saw him make that battery change back on lap 29. They lifted the hood again to change the alternator, and they found an alternator belt, interestingly, on the 07 car back in the garage mirrors. They thought it might belong to the 31, so they got another alternator ready. They changed it, and Jeff said it must have worked because his volts were up to 14. So Jeff said, I don't know if it was the right decision, but it's definitely working for now.
Well, the good news for him is he would be the first car to get the free pass, even though he's 2 laps down, because we do not have a car 1 lap down right now.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to have a couple of cars that might be in trouble here because they just passed below the yellow line and advanced their position.
Brian Vickers and the 11 of Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, they jumped around the 09 there of Brad Keselowski and not Brad Keselowski. Here you go. Watch this.
That is Brad.
Brad Keselowski, yeah. They jumped by him because he was real slow in the middle there, but I guess we're back up front. I don't guess there's a foul there.
Well, NASCAR is reviewing.
Well,
Dale Jr. going to the lead.
The roar you hear is that 88 car. He is taking her to the front, being pushed by Martin Truex Jr. in the 1. And they are on their feet in Talladega.
And Truex's teammate, pole sitter Juan Montoya, right with them. Then rookie Joey Logano and series champ Jimmie Johnson.
Well, that 1 and the 42, they are bad fast. Now I tell you, they can boogie.
And they've been fast ever since these cars unloaded on Friday.
And no surprise, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, even though it's now merged with Chip Ganassi, DEI has a great history of bringing rocket sled restrictor plate cars to Talladega.
Well, and Darrell and I were talking yesterday during qualifying. Remember, you have the Earnhardt-Childress engines that supply the engine for DEI with Ganassi and Childress, and their stuff, all the cars seem like they were just really running here.
Yeah, this is the best I've seen Childress's cars and also the DEI cars, the former DEI cars run, the Ganassi cars.
48 laps complete this time by Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the lead. Jeff Hammond can tell us more at the Ford Cutaway car about what they did to help Jeff Burton.
Well, Mike, what was going on was we saw them come down pit road and they changed the battery. Well, the battery is basically a storage compartment as far as the alternator and energy is concerned on a racetrack, on a race car. What they were having problems with, it was this unit right here, the alternator itself. And they were talking about the belt. Here's the belt is the way it's located and the way it runs around the water pump and is run off the engine itself. But if the alternator is not putting out any kind of voltage, then the battery can't store it. I mean, the battery only helps you for a little while if the alternator quits, and that's what they had to work on to keep that race car running. The battery was not going to be able to sustain it. They run a small battery, doesn't have a lot of reserve power, so they had to work on that to keep the 31 up to power.
Thanks, Jeff. Matt Kenseth leads a lap, and Darrell, this looks like the last lap at Talladega, not just the 50th lap.
Well, look at these guys back in here. I mean, we're talking 4 wide back in this pack back here. That's just almost an ingredient for big-time disaster. Look at them. They're 4 wide, dicing, slicing. Something was, the 2 was up front leading the race. What happened to him, Burns?
Darrell, they were on borrowed time. They got some accident from that first big wreck. You're right, it wasn't that long ago they were leading the race. The entire rear bumper panel is gone. It's back in the garage. There's Bear Bond on this number 2 car, and she's just riding around right now. The whole rear bumper is gone, as you can see right there.
Well, as long as he can stay back there in the draft, his car doesn't really realize it's that beat up. It's just, It would be hard to be out front with the car like that.
And that tubing, that's the functional part of that bumper. It's intact. So NASCAR is not requiring to come in and make a repair.
Well, like I said earlier, and I'm not to repeat myself, but that rear bumper being off there doesn't hurt a thing. Now, the front bumper being off, that's a different story.
Kenseth in yellow trying to hold the lead against Earnhardt on the outside with Hamlin.
I'll tell you what, when I look at Matt Kenseth leading this race, I think that just says so much for these race car drivers. You saw it earlier in the race. Remember, in yesterday's Nationwide Series race, he was barrel rolling and flipping down the back straightaway, and here he is leading the race here today.
He's leading it right until now. Junior forges ahead on the outside.
Well, they've been swapping the lead back and forth for about the last 2 laps. Dale Earnhardt Jr. keeps getting the push from Denny Hamlin in the 11 car.
You know, you talk about Matt Kenseth. I mean, a race car driver's mentality is that was yesterday.
Right.
Tomorrow, I don't worry about tomorrow. I'm living a present right now.
52 laps complete. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the leader. 20 lead changes so far in Talladega.
You watch NASCAR on Fox.
Dale Earnhardt